Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. In this movie, we're gonna look at World Update number 17, which has been released earlier this week. This update will update large parts of the UK as well as Ireland, and will make it, let's say, even more realistic to fly over those parts of the world. As you can see, this is one of these screenshots which has been released, and this updates, or is an update for London, right? We can see the large wheel, we can see the well, this is the Westminster Abbey. We can see the Big Ben. We can see the Thames. We can see boats which are above the water instead of under the water, which is always cool. But what has been added besides this? Well, if we look at the release notes which Asobo has released, we can see that it contains 16 tin cities. And those tin cities is that triangulated updates which they received, right? Which also means that the elevation is better. But also if you look at the buildings, if you fly over the cities after this update, it should be better. And you can see that they divided it in, I would say, the UK, like Bristol, Brighton, Greater London, Heathrow, Leeds, Bradford, Liverpool, etc. Then we've got Ireland, Cork, Dublin, and Eclipse of Moher. Then we've got Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland, Cardiff in Wales, as well as Gibraltar, and that's, I would say, the southern part of Europe, right, close to Spain. That also has been updated. In addition to that, we've got 79 point of interest which are added. So 31 in England, 31 in Ireland, or 13, in Ireland, 5 on the Isle of Man, and 11 on the Northern Ireland, and 1 in Orkney, Scotland, 9 in Scotland, and 10 in Wales. That's really cool because that's not always happening with these, I would say, these high numbers, but you can see that this, I say, is pretty interesting. Then there are also some handcrafted airport updates. Farnborough Airport, Echo Golf Lima Foxtrot, and London Stansted Airport, Echo Golf Sierra Sierra, that's in England. We've got Cork Airport, Echo India Charlie Kilo in Ireland, Sunburg Airport, Echo Golf Papa Bravo in Scotland, and Cardiff in Wales, Echo Golf Foxtrot Foxtrot. So 5 handcrafted airports which are created by third-party developers, but they are now included in Flight Simulator as part of this world update. So if we look at the screenshot, right, here we can see the cliffs. Pretty interesting, pretty neat. I would say these screenshots, of course, are taken on the highest screen or resolution, and probably the highest, graphic settings, which means ultra. So don't be disappointed if you're flying on lower quality that they will look less cool than this one. Now we've got some nice villages where you can see a lot of details. Some bridges, of course, which are also at this point of interest. Then some historic buildings, city centers, a nice island, some castles, of course, some bridges or viaducts, some more nice buildings, some more, I would say, cities, right, including soccer stadia. And that's one thing which you do see regularly using world updates, right? If they are adding point of interest, it mostly are, let's say, churches, older buildings, let's say, famous buildings like palaces or castles, but also soccer stadia are one of them, which they are adding. And that's also what you see here, right? Buckingham Palace, you can see that they also updated this. And if you look at, I would say, the further into London, you can see a lot of detail has been added also to that city. So it makes it even nicer to fly over, well, for example, London, but also above the other cities. But let's have a look on how we can get that update. And that's relatively easy, right? If we, I would say, flip down to the other screen, which I will do. A few seconds. Here we go. Then the first thing you need to do is, of course, start Flight Simulator, right? So simply typing it. And that in most cases will take some time. It really depends on, I would say, how quick the updates are there. If you try this directly after the update was released, it might have taken some more time because then the servers are hammered far more compared to, say, what I'm doing now, right? Because I'm recording this video a few days later. Once that's started, it will check for updates, and then you can install the mandatory updates. And after that, once that has been completed and Flight Simulator has completely started, you need to make sure that you are also installing the, I would say, optional updates, because the world update itself is a separate package which you need to install. So you can see that the videos are now loading. It takes a little bit longer as normal. You can see that I've got a frame rate calculator in the top. If you want to use it, use MSE Afterburner in combination with a real server, which will allow you to measure your GPU temperature, but also the memory consumption, the CPU utilization, as well as the frames per second. And that's handy if you're tweaking your Flight Simulator settings. So I'm using this one to tweak my graphic settings compared to the default, say, video settings, which you can also do with the developer kit of Flight Simulator. And if you're interested in using the developer kit, then have a look at my channel because you can find a video about that one. So here's the installation manager, which will check for updates. And here it is. It will pop me to install an update. So I will install the update. Then I will pause the recording because it likely will take some more time before Flight Simulator started. As you can see, the AI updates or the AI airplanes have been added. Generic airports have been updated. See multiple of them. And then once these have been processed, it will take some more time because they need to be rendered locally, or say probably it's not rendering, right? It's more compiling. And then once that has been done, I will come back and then we will have a look at the changes in Flight Simulator itself. So it has finished installing its update. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is change back the setting, which they still didn't control. And that's this one. In my case, I want to go full screen. So that's where it is. Apply and save, and then go back. And then directly you see the number 1 over here. And the number 1 will bring you to the content manager because likely you need to install some updates. And that's in this case the world update number 3. So what they did is they updated both the UK and Ireland. But if you install world update number 3, it means you also need to update that one. So let's start with that one and then press install. This will again take some time, likely. In some cases, the screen will go completely black. Don't panic. It will come back to the normal screen and then start installing the update. I'm not sure what's happening under the hood because this wasn't the case, I would say, a few updates back. But recently, using, I think, maybe 2-3 sim updates, they introduced this. It looks like it's locking up the system because it needs to do some change on the right on some files, which will prevent Flight Simulator from reacting completely. Because as you can see, also the, I would say, screen on the top right, which shows the CPU and memory usage, is completely frozen. So, and here you can see it's going on. So, right, it's updating one of the airports, and this will again take some time because it needs to download 1.17 gigabyte. And in some cases it goes really quick, in some cases it might go slower. Don't panic, just give it some time. In some cases it will help if you do it during, I would say, a different time frame. Especially after the world updates and sim updates are released, this will go slower, 100%, because it will put a lot of pressure on the systems, on the backend systems. Then try it simply a little bit later on, because in most cases you will see that it works directly after that. As you can see, in my case, it goes relatively smoothly. So 1.17 gigabyte, right? You can see that it's downloading, then it's patching the point of interest in the UK, as you can see over here. That's likely due to the new point of interest which are ingested as part of this world update. And then once that has been done, we can continue with, of course, installing the real world update, because as mentioned already in this video, it hasn't installed anything of this world update. It now is only patching the system to make sure it's ready to receive world update number 17. Indeed, 17 already, right? That's a lot already, and I mentioned that they will continue developing these world updates for a while, so that's good. So once it has been done, it should say completed over here, and then we can go back to the marketplace. Unfortunately, you can't install this update and then install the update from the marketplace. Say for some reason that's not possible. I think it's due to some, say, double writing in some files, because they're actually writing to the same piece of files, right? Which keeps an update. Okay, hey, which file needs to be used in which certain scenario? That's all those scenario files, or scenery files, I should say. So this should be, I would say, completed pretty soon, and then we can have a look at the content manager. In some cases, the screen will go dark again, like in my case also. Don't panic again. It will return to the normal screen. And then we'll simply say, okay, hey, nothing needs to be updated. So that's cool. You can still see the number 1 here, but it says update has been installed. So once we've done that, we can go back to home, and then you can go to the marketplace where you can see this beautiful helicopter, which will be discussed in a future video. And then you can go either to the new releases, which are over here. You can go to the world, which is over here. And the world will contain the world update section. And there you will find, tada, world update number 17. So you can select it, then you can press either get or get and download. If you press get, you will only, let's say, between brackets, buy it. If you press get and download, well, you know what happens, right? It will start, let's say, buying the product between brackets and then start directly downloading it. Then you will see the number 2 appearing here in the top. You can click on it and then you can say, okay, hey, download has started. So you can close them all if you don't want to see it. You can keep an eye on the downloads over here, which is one of the options. And then in the meantime, you can look at the beautiful screenshots, right? Yeah, I would say these ones, we already sold them, right? But here are some other screenshots. For example, this one and this one. So that's pretty nice. And it, again, will take some time downloading depending on the time you download this update. As you can see, it goes not as fast as the previous update, which we needed to install. But still goes really smoothly. And as you can see that there are a lot of things which are looking really, really nice. And these are the point of interest, which are handcrafted, which means that I would say they're having a lot of detail compared to the normal, let's say, buildings in Flight Simulator. At the bottom, right, we can also see some screenshots which are added. And that's, I would say, what it is, right? So for now, what we will do is I will pause the recording because I don't think it makes sense of looking at this, I would say, screenshot, right? But before that, let's look what has been added besides those point of interest, those triangulated updates, the triangulated irregular networks, and the digital elevation, including the LIDAR coverage. As you can see here at the bottom, there are 8 new activities included. 3 discovery flights, 2 landing challenges, and 3 boost trips. So you can fly above Dublin, Ireland, and Edinburgh in Scotland, which means that these are the, let's say, discovery flights. And the third one is the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland with the updated discovery flights. Then you've got the landing challenges, of course, along Stansted with the Airbus A320neo. It doesn't look like that they included the V2, so it could be that this is the V1. And you can also practice your landing skills at Ireland's Cork Airport in the DAR TBM 930. Then if you want to take long tours, then there are the boost trips in Scotland, Southern England, and Wales. So a lot of cool stuff. And the good thing is, as mentioned here, in capitals, it's all for free. So let's pause recording now and I will come back once the update has been installed. So, and after some time, it has finished installing the update. And you will recognize that because it says, okay, hey, it doesn't show the progress bar here anymore. But also in the top, if you click there, it says it downloaded all the updates. So that's fine. So now if you go back to the home screen, you will find some new stuff, right? First of all, you will find some new stuff in the world map. Keep in mind that the world map might take some time before it loads the first time because it has added all the content. So it could be that it freezes for some time, but again, don't worry, it will, let's say, release itself. And then if you scroll over the UK, you will see that you've got a multiple point of interest. Some of them have exclamation marks, which are marking the ones which you didn't visit, right? So in my case, you can see that I still need to visit a lot of them. But here also, I'm pretty sure that I did fly over these ones. So it could be that these ones are also updated as part of that world update. Now, if we would zoom into different parts of the world, for example, Ireland, you will see that there are multiple points which are added. These were definitely not there, I would say, the previous time. At least most of them not. Maybe some of them, but I doubt. Then here we've got the island for the Isle of Man, if I'm correct. And there you can also see that they added some new things. So that's really cool. So that's how you can recognize them easily if you fly or if you zoom over this using a world map. So that's the first thing, right? So if we go back to the home screen, we also see that the discovery flights have been updated. And those are the flights which we already discussed. And those are divided in the core content. But if you scroll down, you will also find the world updates. And those world updates, those are the ones which you're looking for, because those are including the world, are the updates which are there added, or I should say the content which has been added by those world updates. And if we scroll down, further down the list, likely, we will find some other stuff. So some stuff which I didn't visit yet. But here we can see the Cliff of Moher, which is new. Then we've got Dublin, Ireland, which is also new, and Edinburgh, Scotland. Those are the 3 discovery flights which they discussed. And you can see that I've got still some other places to visit. So I challenge yourself, okay. I challenge you and myself, I should say, by completing all of them. Then the other updates, you will need to go to the activity screen. And inside the activity screen, you can see the discovery flights here also. But that's also where you find the landing challenges. And those landing challenges are divided in multiple categories. Now the question is always, where did they add those new world update, with world update content? That's always searching. So again, here you can see that I still need to do some of them. But here you can see London Stansted, right, which they announced. That's one of them, which they have added. And if we scroll down, we might find the other one. It's not here. So likely it's in one of the other categories. Maybe the epic ones. Let's see. We can see. Let's see if we're not scrolling too fast, right? New Zealand. I don't think it's here. So maybe then it's strong wind. Could be. Let's have a look. And else we likely missed it and we need to go back to the list. Didn't see it yet. Cork. Wasn't that the new one? I'm not sure. But could be that this one is new. And we can see also Southampton, but this one is definitely not new. So likely you will find, I would say, one of them in this list, right? So let's go again to the famous one, because I'm pretty sure we missed it. No, it was the Cork one, right? That was the one. So it was the Cork one. So this one, using the Teher TBM 930, that's the new one, which has been added also. So if we go back 2 levels up, then we also find the boost strips, right? Which you can find a little bit further to the right. And there you find the boost strips which you can fly, right? You can see that I'm not, I would say, a very regular boost strip flyer. I completed only one for 100%. The rest of them still need to find some time, but it costs you a serious amount of time flying these ones. But it's, I would say, always a pleasant to fly those, because you will visit places which you likely didn't visit when you are flying around the city, or not the city, the scenery yourself. So here we've got South England, which is pretty new. I'm 100% sure about that one, because it was also mentioned in the release notes. Then if we scroll down, we will likely also find the other ones. This one, Wales, also new. And where's that last one? Let's scroll back to the top, because we likely missed it. So we've got Wales, South England. Those are the new ones. And this one, the Cluton to Glasgow, that's also a new one. So 3 new ones. Also, if you want to discover the new scenery in Flight Simulator, that's a good idea. Now, as last tip for this video, right, what you likely need to do, but it really depends on your configuration, is if you go to the general options, you will find the data section. In my case, I switched on everything and I'm not using any, I would say, caching, right? You can see in my case, the cache has been set to 0. I'm wondering why it switched to 1, but that's a different thing. You likely want to, let's say, delete the rolling cache after you install the update. And the reason for that is that then you're pretty sure that it's using the online content, or at least it's catching the new online content, which is always a good idea to do, right? You can view the manual cache, but simply deleting it is by simply pressing the delete button, and then it says, okay, it might take several minutes depending on your file size, and then it's okay. Again, I'm not sure why it switched to on. I was thinking I need to switch to off, hit apply and save, Again, for performance-wise, you can set it to on. You can see you can't even switch to off. Really weird. So let's set it to this. And then it's okay. Not sure what's this about. I will leave it as is. Ignore this one. If you switch to off, then won't use the caching. But then you don't need to delete this file. If the rolling cache is switched to on and you've got a cache file, then make sure that you delete it so it catches all up with all the new content which is installed on the backend servers, but also on your local system. So with that, we're at the end of this video where we looked at the latest World Update 17, which focuses on the UK and Ireland, and it adds, I would say, besides the updated cities, it adds points of interest, it adds some new activities like the discovery flights, like the boost trips, like the landing challenges. So a lot of fun for you to try out, both on the Xbox as well as on the PC as well as on stream. So have fun with it. Here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.